What's up, everyone? It's Vankeet the artist bringing you another haircut tutorial today. However, this one is different. This is my first long form video on a kid's haircut. I don't know what took me so long, but I come to think of it, probably because kids move around a lot and it's hard to find the perfect kid model. And most kids come later in the later part of my day, and usually I'm gassed by that time. But let's get technical. So I'm doing a low taper fade on my client, but his hair is extremely soft. So we're starting off with the number 3 wall guard, and I'm debulking the sides and the back down because we're going to give him a low temp fade. And you see how I pulled his head down? A lot of times barbers struggle with kids, moving their head or keeping their head up. So a lot of times you have to guide them and just talk to them, because a lot of barbers don't want to cut kids, or they like to charge way more than they should for kids, which is okay. I mean, kids are getting grown man haircuts, but to me, their heads are very small. So I try to keep the price range at a medium price range, if that makes sense. And excuse me if my head bopping a little bit, man. I was jamming in the shop. I was in a good mood. It was the morning time. I came in on high energy. I'm always trying to come in on high energy, but that morning I was feeling it. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. But right here, you see, I'm just scooping out because I don't want to go too high into his occipital. I want to stop at his occipital bone. The occipital bone is that area right there where the head starts to curve out right there. Okay, so we're gonna first start our guideline on the back, on the nape area. Now I'm keeping my angle, I'm keeping my camera lens wide view. Please let me know if y'all like that. Please let me know if y'all can see it. I really made this video so it can be played on more of like a TV screen. I mean, if it looks good on the phone, please let me know in the comment section as well. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and start our low taper on the sides. Starting that ball guideline. Now we gotta apply the tap and go hairline spritz. Man, shout out to me. Came out with my first product. I'm proud of myself. It is a good product, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. It works wonders to keep my hairline sharp and to keep my blades, looking good. But the people who make my blades, it makes them look good as well. We want to make sure we spread that out evenly. All right, now let's start this nape area. So I'm starting with my lever open on my Andes Masters. And you see I'm taking my time. I'm just jabbing at that line, making that first initial guideline. I'm going up probably like a half an inch, as our boy 360 Jeezy would say. And when I go up half an inch, I like to just go ahead and fade the bottom blend out. So I just screen scrub. I'm moving my lever up closer and closer, as you can see. And as the video progresses, you see how that bottom blend, it gets lighter and lighter. And I am going up a little high on the back of his neck because that's what his parents want. My preference, I like to keep it as low as possible. But I mean, hey, I know how to blend really well, so it did come out really nice. So please make sure y'all tune in and just stay with me so you can see the result of this haircut, man, because it did come out really nice. All right, now we're going to take our number 2 guard by Andes. I'm sorry, I'm about to say Andes Masters. I am using my Andes Masters though. Those are my go-tos, man. Those gold Andes Masters are undefeated. I'm sorry, but yes, this is the number 2 guard. We're just making sure we're debulking a little bit more. But now we're starting to do the blend process. And see, this is another reason why I wanted to use my wide angle, because sometimes my shoulder blade can get in the way. But I'm starting to figure out my angles. I'm gonna start putting my camera in different angles and different directions so y'all can see the haircut a lot better. Okay, now we're gonna take our number 1 guard by Andes. And we're starting with the lever all the way open. I always start with the lever open, and then once I debulk, I go with the lever halfway. I debulk a little bit, and then I close it all the way, and that just makes that fade come together. Personally, I like to fade up. A lot of people like to fade down. I know how to fade down as well. I might do a video on it one day, but I've really been perfecting trying to fade up because it just gives me a little more control on where I want the fade to go and how high I want it to go, or if I want it to be low, etc., etc. And you see, I love this. I love my client, man. Like this kid, he's just sitting still. This is the ideal kid client, I guarantee you. Now, before we go to the zero guard, like I usually do, I seen some spots that I wanted to clean up. So I went ahead and took my Andes 1.5 guard, which is a 4.5 millimeter. Had to debulk a little bit. Now we're gonna go ahead and jab at that fade. This is that zero guard right here, y'all. This is where the magic happens. This is where the sandwich meets the mayonnaise and the mustard. This is where it all just comes together, bro. Now you see in some areas I have to notch, especially because kids, they have that, I don't know the technical term for it, but that little pinch in the middle of their heads. You have to notch that area a lot more because the hair sits right in between that crack, and sometimes it can be hard. So make sure you're notching. You don't have to always just go fully inside of it. All right, now we put that tap and go spritz just so it can prep on the skin, so it can dry. I prefer for it to air dry. So while we're doing that, we're gonna go ahead and give our first initial lineup on his head. You know, my client, he does typically go to another barber because he does stay about an hour away. So excuse the hairline being a little light in the front, but we're gonna make sure we can give him the most crispy hairline possible. I mean, look how still this kid is sitting, y'all. Like, man, so proud of him. Extremely proud of him. And I guarantee you, this is in the morning time too. I think I was cutting him like around 10 or 11 o'clock. Like, I don't even have to hold his head or nothing like that. But you see, my stance, I'm taking my time on this lineup. I'm keeping the natural line. I don't try to do too much. You know, with these kids, their hairlines are pretty much made for their head. You know, you don't really have to contour too much. It's mostly when, you know, people start growing into their head. But as kids, man, you can just line them up and keep it moving. That's why I don't charge extra for kids. You know, like my price range is in between the $40 and $50 price range. Why? Because they do get grown man haircuts. You know, they are getting fades and they're not getting no just even all overs. And, you know, they're getting the curly hair, or they want to get the shape up and all that extra good stuff. Look how the C cup is just curving, it's coming alive. So I'm starting my hairline off first because a lot of times, you know, just in case for me, kids do move, especially towards the end of the haircut, because I do take an hour on my haircuts. So in order for me to avoid, you know, trying to line up a kid while they're moving or they're getting impatient, asking me, hey, Mr. V, when are you almost done? I just go ahead, I go ahead and just start the lineup first, and then I fade, I start my fade. Got to make sure we're not going too high over the ears. That's one of my pet peeves, man. I hate to see when barbers go too high over the ears, man. It's not that serious. If your liners are not hitting, just get some new ones. It's time to invest into new blades, or just get some more Spritz. Okay, now it's time to take our Y2 comb. We're gonna debulk, or should I say my blending comb. That's a magical comb, y'all. If you don't have that comb, you need to get it. And make sure you're training your eye to look for those dark spots. You know, when you're a beginner barber, you're not going to see it as clear, but as you gain more experience, then you start and once you realize you want your fades to come out a lot better and a lot tighter, you're going to start looking for those dark spots a lot more, and you're going to find them a lot easier. But you have to train. You have to train your eye. You have to train your third eye. Every barber should have their third eye open. If you don't, then you can't see, but you can't see the unseen. And this is what I was talking about when it comes to dark spots. I seen a little dark spot right there. I just have to clean up. You see, I'm just notching. I'm not going too high, and I'm not going too deep into it because I don't want to start all over and recreate a whole nother guideline. I'm talking about, look how my client, he just trained, man. He put his head down. He already knew what time it was. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and line up the other side. This is his right side. And shout out to these trimmers, man. Shout out to my boy Clipper Grinder. If you want some hard-hitting tap and go type trimmer blades, hit up Clipper Grinder at clippergrinder.com. He has a nice sale going on, I think. Now, don't wait on it either, because he does take his time on those blades and his order volume gets pretty high. So you might be waiting about 2 weeks. So if you're trying to get some blades for the holidays coming up, you might want to get that order in right now. Or it might be too late if you're listening to this now. Shout out to my boy Drizzy. All right, now we're going to go ahead and start that C cup. And I'm keeping his vertical bar natural. You know, I'm not angling it or anything because his forehead is pretty flat. And I'm using the corner of my blades. I'm not pressing too hard. All right, now let's start this fade process. Now we're doing a low taper. We're going to start off with our lever all the way open. Now, his hair is soft, so it did take some time for me to get that first initial guideline. But hey, no matter what, I'm going to take my time. Now I'm going to go ahead and close the levers. We got to knock out that bottom blend. The fade is already starting to come alive. You can see it. I mean, he does. I like his braided hair. You know, his parents keep over his hair. They make sure that they wash it and everything. They make sure they put in the right products. They put my products in his hair. So shout us out to them. And that makes my haircuts a lot easier. It makes my job a lot easier. And it makes my haircuts come out a lot better, should I say. All right, now we're taking our number 2 and this guard. You see I'm just notching because I see that dark spot right there. Now this is what I was talking about. You want to train your eye. So if you're a beginner barber watching my videos, this will be a good video for you to see how you have to train your eye to get those dark spots out in order to progress through your fade. Don't try to just rush through your fade or progress through. If you see something, go ahead and knock it out. Because you don't want to just keep coming back doing too much cleanup work. I know I say it a lot in my videos, but I really stand on what I mean. And look at the flick of my wrist. My wrist is staying flat. The flatter you have your clippers, the easier it is for you to fade. If you have your clippers at a I want to say, like a 45 or 50 degree upward angle, your fades are going to take a lot longer. And it might not be as sharp. Learned that from one of my OGs. All right, now we have our 0 guard on it. Let's go ahead and knock that. Yes sir, yes sir. And as I'm combing through, the fade is coming alive. I jab, comb, jab, comb, jab, comb. Yes. Now it's almost done. It's not done. It may look good, but it's not done. So we're gonna go back with our lever all the way open, or it might be on the second notch. I don't know. But usually at this point in my fade, I put it on the second notch. I go up just a little bit into the fade, and then I might open my lever all the way. That's the beautiful thing about those Andes Masters, man. They give you a lot of free range to do some cleanup work. Now it's kind of hard with the Barbershop because their lever all the way open is the equivalent to the third notch on the Andes Master. So you might end up cutting too much. But sometimes if you're a really good fade genius, then you know exactly what to do. Then kudos to you. But for my beginner barbers, take your time. Make sure you get a pair of Andes Masters and make sure you get a pair of Barbershops. But if you're going to get the Barbershops, make sure you get one with the fade blade and one with the taper blade. There is a difference. Now I guess I seen something I didn't like on the hairline, so I just want to make sure. It's probably because his hairline was kind of curving on his forehead. And you see how I just combed through? Hey man, when you're doing kids with soft hair or soft curls, you gotta hit that hairline at least about 2 or 3 times, man. Please don't be lazy. Because the type of questions I ask the parents is, hey, how long did this haircut last? And they'll say, man, for at least a week or 2. And I do hit them with the razor you're gonna see later on in the video, but the razor can't do that trick, especially if the hair is very soft and curly, because you know kids, they get in the shower pile, they get the hair wet, they do whatever, so you know they're going to be all over the place. You want to make sure the hairline stays intact as much as possible. So as you're going through the hairline, tap, comb, tap, comb. It may get pretty tedious, but the more you do it, and if you're an overachiever, it shouldn't be too much for you. Now what we do on one side, you already know we are going to do on the other. Now of course everybody's asymmetric. Asymmetric means that one half of your body is not the same as the other half. We may look symmetric, but we are asymmetric. So the hair is always going to fade a lot different, and the hair is always going to look different. Like I said, pay attention to how I'm holding my clippers. You see how flat it is. If your clippers are not being that flat, then you have a lot of work to do. You have a lot of training to do. Wrist training, should I say. Now trust me, the wrist training is pretty tedious. It's going to take some time. Like when I first started correcting my wrist, I want to say it took about almost a year for me to perfect it. And perfect it, not just get it down pat. I had it down pat within like a month or two, because I cut hair so much, but I wanted to perfect it. Now you see I followed up, I debulked with my 1.5. Now I'm going to take my Andes number 2 guard, and we're just going to get that dark spot right there, that little curl. Now I don't want to go too deep into the hair, so we're just going to take our debulking comb. The clip over comb action, man, is undefeated. If you know how to do some clip over comb, oh yeah, you in the game. And you're a lot farther advanced than a lot more people, because everybody can't do clip over comb. All right, now let's do the number 1 guard. We're going to go ahead and start hitting that line. The lever is all the way open. We're going to take our time. We don't want to just rush into the fade. I don't start with my lever closed all the time. Sometimes I do, especially like the hair is sticking to the head. And what I mean by that is, it's like some people's hair is very hard to fade. So sometimes you do have to just go straight into it, especially if you know what you're doing. Now, if you don't know what you're doing, you kind of iffy about it. Start small and then go big. It's so crazy too, man. I love watching my haircut video. I used to not watch my haircut videos. I used to think it was boring, but the more and more you fall in love with your craft, the more and more you see how a fade can come alive, and it's like, wow, like it's really nice. It's almost like magic. Now we have to follow up with that 0. Make sure you get some dual magnetic or single magnetic guards, man. Long story short, I had a clip-on guard and it slipped off, and it could be a barber's worst nightmare. I'll say that. That was a bad day for me. But after that, I stuck to my magnetic guards. It never failed me. And they last long too. They're very premium. The plastic is very strong. It's very thick. So you're gonna get your time's worth out of them. And they're only like $25, I want to say, maybe 30. Look how fade is coming alive. The client is still sitting still. Man, we 20 minutes in and he cool, just chilling. Now right here, we're just notching because it's hair right here. I just know it's hair, and the direction of his hair is going at an angle. So I'm just notching at the opposite angle just to make sure that fade can come alive. Man, that curl is killing me, but I know I'm gonna get it. We're gonna line up the back behind the ear once again. I've probably seen some hairs just hanging off. I know it's hard to see the hairs hanging off, but they're there, trust me. And that's why you want to continue to keep brushing and keep combing, no matter what. Now, you don't want to abrade the skin. You don't want to press too hard. That's why I order my trimmers as tap and go off of Clipper Grinder's website. All right. Now we got that foam wrap. Getting massage all through my man's head. I mean, at this point, I've been cutting his hair for almost like 2 years. He's pretty much used to the service now. Now, sometimes if the foam wrap does this right here, if it gets caught up on the scalp, just go ahead and massage it out a little bit. But this is one of my secrets right here, that curl diffuser. Man, this is what happens when you let women into your life and you listen to women and you work around women. They put you on secrets like this. I never would have thought about this if I was just continuously working by myself, working around other guys, because sometimes we don't share secrets enough, you know. But hey, man, I was at a hair salon. They needed me to do a photo shoot for them. I was the spotlight barber, and they was saucing up the curls and stuff like that. It was some natural haircuts, and I was like, man, what is that for? They put the foam wrap in it, they put the curl diffuser on it, and now you see this is what happens. The curl diffuser, it basically just dries it up enough just to where it still looks moisturized and wet, but it's not too wet. All right, after applying that pencil, I seen a little detail work I had to do. So of course we're gonna take that one. Is that a 1.5? Yes, sir, that is. That's that 4.5 millimeter. Make sure you know your measurements. Don't just know the 1.5 or the number 2 guard. If you know your measurements, then it'll make your fade process a lot easier too. Now me, I'm pretty much gifted at this point. I know exactly what guard I need to use. Man, that C cup is hitting, man. Look at that fade. All right, now let's start this razor line off. I'm gonna razor down because a lot of times, you know, kids can't move. They can move. This is the ideal kid client right here, y'all. I can't stress this enough. See, when your kids sit still, the haircut comes out like this. I guarantee you. Now if you have to keep telling your child sit still, then don't try to give them a fade or like a all around fade, what people like to call it, but don't try to give them a drop fade, nothing like that, man. Just give them a temp fade, keep it simple. And barbers, just talk to your kids. If you calmly talk to them, meet them where they at, they'll listen to you, I guarantee you. Because a lot of times they might not listen to their parents, but they'll listen to you. Ooh, look at that hairline. Yes, sir. Man, hey y'all. This is some sauce right here. And this is all natural. No color, no enhancements. That's another thing I love about doing kids haircuts. You don't have to rely on enhancements unless they really want them, but you don't need them because the hair it grows in so well, the hair follicles. Man, that's why I love doing kids haircuts. They make me look good. And when I post them on my page, they always go viral. It's never a hit or miss. And of course, you know, the ladies, they're looking like, hey, oh, he's so cute. I want to bring my son. And that's how you get women to start, you know, coming on your page, and that builds more traction. I'm going to tell you one thing, man. Women support way more than men. Men will watch. Men will watch you, but women, they'll watch you and they will try to support you as much as possible. So right here, we're just doing a little detail work. Just making sure everything is not, well, we're just making sure the hair is not hanging over the hairline, because when we sauce the curls up, you know, that wets the curls, and when you wet the hair can fall in different places. And like I was explaining in my recent video, you got to make sure you hit that the neckline at least 2 times, okay? Now we're just making sure we're getting all that residue off the hairline. I like this a lot. This is clean, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start my closing remarks. Hey man, please make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Please make sure you hit the notification bell. But man, you know, keep supporting the channel, because if you support me, that motivates me to grow even more. You know what I'm saying? Let's go ahead and hit him with that hair sheen, because when he step outside, those curls are going to shine. We've been getting a lot of sunshine in Georgia lately. This is the mirror check. That young man is so mature. But hey, y'all, appreciate y'all for watching. You already know, Von Keith, the artist, is out. See you next time.